good afternoon, and thank you for joining us in today's webinar. My name is Rachel Pickens. I'm here with Taylor, my colleague.
Hi, everyone.
And we're so excited to start the new year with a fun webinar that's really kind of designed to show you how ConstructionSuite, ConstructionOnline, and the mobile apps can really help improve your bottom line in 2016. Obviously, of course, at the end of the year, or at the beginning of the year, we're really kind of full of excitement and full of anticipation on how we can really improve our systems and processes. And so today's goal is really to show you how we can do that. And to help you actually achieve those resolutions that you've kind of set for yourselves. And so we'll show you some tips and tricks and ideas that we have that ConstructionSuite, ConstructionOnline, and the mobile apps can really help you improve your bottom line in 2016. We've got a lot of attendees today, and I'm sure you're going to have questions as we go. Please feel free to ask those throughout the session. We've got our wonderful colleague Holly also here via chat, and we'll be happy to answer those questions via chat as you have them. At the end, we'll go over kind of a Q&A and pick some of the questions that were hot topics there from you all as well. So if there's anything that you have questions on, please feel free to ask those. We'd love to help and make sure that this is something that's successful for you.
Absolutely. And if you guys do have questions, like you said, please feel free to send those in. Typically, there's so many that come in that it's hard to get them all during the webinar. And then sometimes at the end, we'll have a chance to go back and address some of those specifically. Right. Today, though, if you have questions a little more geared towards other features or things that we might not be focusing on today with ways to improve your bottom line, probably something that we can talk to you one-on-one about after the webinar. This one's a little bit of a special topic, and we're focusing on a few specific points, so it's going to be a little more structured than most topics that we do with the webinars. So if there is something that doesn't get answered, don't feel bad about it. We will get back to you, make sure that all those questions are answered. Anything you need to know about the system has been taken care of.
Absolutely. And the last thing I really want to mention is that we'd love to hear your resolutions. So again, chat those in, or you can even chat us directly. And really, again, we'd love to hear if you've set aside goals for yourself or for your company. We'd love to hear those. I mean, really, the best part, the funnest part, I don't know if that's a word.
Something like that.
Thing about our job is that we really get to help design tools. We get to speak with thousands of clients and users a week. So we get to hear a lot about what people are doing. So one of the most fun or exciting things is helping design tools and systems and processes that are going to help you in return. So the more you communicate kind of what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve and your resolutions for the year, the better we can help you. So help us help you. I think there's a movie about that somewhere.
Somewhere, probably a few. But with that, yeah, Rachel really hit the nail on the head there. We definitely want to work for you guys and with you guys to make sure that we are improving the product. We're going to show you what we think are 6 of the ways that you can really improve your profitability, which is really the main goal with ConstructionSuite and all the ConstructionOnline mobile applications that we offer. Just making sure that you guys are successful and continue to grow, and we can grow with you and continue to improve that profit margin.
Absolutely.
So to start out with that, we're going to start with our first topic to improve your bottom line, and it's probably one of the most obvious ones. And that's going to be to know your profitability and stay on top of your finances. So in ConstructionSuite, we have introduced in the last year or so our work in progress report. And this is going to be a new feature that we've actually designed and implemented into the system to show you more financial metrics on a job-to-job basis and let you see when you're bringing those values in from QuickBooks, when you're doing your estimating, a lot of different metrics on your profitability and your job costs as you progress through the job, instead of waiting until the end to find out that you're in the hole or that you've actually gone way over budget. Mm-hmm. We do have some tools with the QuickBooks integration and within the estimate to look at this as well. But really with the profitability report or the work in progress report showing your profitability, you can see, as you can tell here, on a per project basis, you can of course filter by specific projects or groups as well if you want to hone in on a specific demographic or type of job that you're working on. But really, you can see an example of some of the dollar value metrics that we have here, allowing you to track things from, of course, the best estimate of job costs coming from your estimate, the estimated cost to complete, which is going to be based on your initial budget, and then as you import actuals or enter actuals into your estimate, you're going to deduct that from there, really leading you down to what's still left to spend on the job. And then as you go through and actually track your actuals, it's going to estimate your gross profit based on how you've performed on the job so far. It's going to do it for change orders as well, so those will be separated in case you're interested in your performance on those, if it's really worth doing, if you need to mark it up more, really how you're addressing those. But then you're going to get into some features, and this one's one of my personal favorites, like the slip improvement or the percent cost improvement. And what this does is this actually allows you to go through and see for each job how well you estimated effectively compared to what you actually spent. So it's going to give you a percent margin, if you will, as a comparison between your job costs on the estimate from the initial proposal to what you actually spent on the job, and show you if you were over budget, under budget, and how far away. And really the reason I bring attention to that is because most of you guys think, well, of course, being under budget is always a great thing. And it is in most cases. Obviously, being over budget's not somewhere you want to be. But if you're under budget too often or too much, it can be a bad thing.
Money on the table, though, in terms of jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could also lose jobs because you're too high. You could not be the lowest bidder or be out of the price range because you're overestimating. And for the jobs you win, it's great. You can get a little bit higher profit margin on those, but you're probably losing more money by leaving jobs on the table, as Rachel said, than you are from, estimating a little higher. So you can see that. You can see as we scroll through, it's going to show you the percent complete based on what you spent so far, earned gross profit. But then it's also going to show, when you get into the invoice to date, some fields like the unearned revenue and the unbilled revenue, which is really going to compare what you've invoiced to what you've spent, and going to show you, again, how far behind on payments you are from the client, what they still owe you for the work that you've done, or in the rare case that this actually happens, maybe an initial deposit. I know this is kind of fantasy land for some of you guys. If you're actually getting paid for work that you haven't done yet, I know that's kind of an ideal situation in most cases, but that will actually show you the unearned revenue there as well. So if you guys are taking a look at this, it's going to have a lot of great metrics as you go through. You can actually take advantage of some of the tools up here as well, like snapshots. And snapshots are actually going to let you see how your company has progressed and performed over time. So if you go to the snapshots menu and go to manage your snapshots, you can actually set this up in order to create snapshots on a weekly basis, a daily basis, and have it set to take automatic snapshots. So I don't have any really up here right now. It's set to never take snapshots, but if you want it automated, you can actually do this on a daily basis, weekly basis, anything like that. With that, the snapshots are actually going to be a great way to track over time how you're progressing and if certain jobs have actually brought in more revenue, less revenue, and where those jumps and spikes have actually occurred.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, I mean, it's just information is key here. And so being able to quickly really see where all of your projects lay, where all of the information that automatically comes back from QuickBooks. And so the nice thing about that, of course, is that when you're using the work in progress graph, it's automatically going to pull in that information from QuickBooks. You're going to be able to take those snapshots so that you can see exactly where your data lays, and really be able to make better decisions. So kind of like what Taylor mentioned with the slip improvement or the percent slip improvement, with being able to see how well you estimate, it's going to allow you just to have more information so that you can know how to move going forward, whether it's what changes that you have to make, which estimators are really doing really well and kind of keeping that right on the money for you, or which ones that you might need to work with and perhaps train a little bit as well. So
absolutely,
an excellent tool for being able to do that. Taylor, tell them which versions the work in progress reporting tool is available in.
Yeah, so the work in progress tool is going to be available on both our residential and commercial versions, as well as the green versions of each, of course, but it's going to be on the residential side in Premier and above. So Premier, Corporate, and then our network package as well. On the commercial side, that's included in the Catalyst version, the developer version, and our enterprise version. Mm-hmm. And with the work in progress, another thing that we get asked a lot is, can I hide this from users? And really the answer is yes. With the work in progress report, you do have the option on a user by user basis to actually set the visibility of that and, choose if some employees can't see that if you don't want them, accessing the profitability numbers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So definitely check out that feature if you haven't seen it already. It's an excellent one to use. Now, the second step, or the second way that we're suggesting here that you can improve your bottom line in 2016 is to save time communicating. So what we're going to do now is actually take a look at ConstructionOnline and show you some of the cool tools there that are going to really help make that better and streamlined for you. We know that when you save time communicating, when you're not having to go back and forth, or where you're able to eliminate miscommunication, then already you're really saving perhaps possible hurdles or challenges or mistakes because of the lack of communication or mistakes in communication. One of the ways that ConstructionOnline does this really well is through our game plan tool. ConstructionOnline's game plan that I'm pulling up here in front of you is an automatic report that's going to be able to be sent out to anybody on the job, anyone who's involved in your company. This could go out to subcontractors. This could go out to superintendents, project managers. It could even go out to your clients if there are things that you want to automatically notify them of. But it's going to pull all of the different items in ConstructionOnline that they have responsibility for into a single email or print that you can give them. You can choose how often you want to send that, so you don't have to worry about bombarding them every single day. You've got full flexibility on how often that goes out and also how much information that includes. And what I'm pulling up here for you in ConstructionOnline is the game plan kind of tool area. If you log in, go to the game plan section, you're going to see all of your contacts and be able to determine, how often I really want to send that out to people. So for Brandon, one of my subcontractors, I've got him set up to receive a weekly email that's going to go out every evening or that evening. That's going to send all of the activities, calendar events, punch list items that he's still assigned to for the next week. So he's going to have a very clear idea of what's on his plate, of what's being scheduled. One of the conversations I've had with a client in the past has been how much the game plan tool has really saved them time in terms of one of their employees. They had an employee whose sole responsibility for a long time before ConstructionOnline came around for them was to constantly be in communication with their subs and project managers and letting them know where they're supposed to be on the job site, which projects they're supposed to be there, when they're supposed to show up, why aren't they going to be able to show up, all those different things. And I'm sure you all know, you've been there as well with the constant chaos that comes from managing multiple projects or multiple people in different companies. And so with Game Plan, this person let me know that they were actually to take this employee whose sole purpose was to contact these subs and save 3 days of their time. And so you can imagine that cost adds up really fast. When you're taking a look at improving your bottom line, when you don't have to pay an employee to do something that you can get a software process to do as easy as setting up with a couple of button clicks, then you're really looking into increasing your profit margins because you're not spending valuable employees on things that we have systems now that can do that for you. That's the benefit of technology. And so that's really one of the cool things about Game Plan, and why you're going to hear every time you call in and talk to somebody about Game Plan, we're going to be huge proponents of there because we have clients who have seen it work and change the way they do business. And so if you haven't taken a look or tried that out, I really encourage you to do so. That's going to be an impactful tool for you, because when you have communication highlighted, when you have that constant flow, I mean, better to be over communicating than not communicating at all, right?
Yeah, and this way the game plans are great to set up. I really do recommend them to anybody that has ConstructionOnline and is using it. There's some features that apply more to one company than another maybe, but the game plan is something that without fail, I have never found a company that cannot benefit from it. And it's going to be something, it's so flexible, you can do it every Sunday night for the next week. You can do it every evening for the next day. Really set that up. And it does eliminate that communication that's necessary between your office staff and your subcontractors, or your office staff and the field staff, making it to where, as Rachel mentioned, you can either completely cut out the need to have that staff member, or you can reallocate them to specific times. You guys can get better jobs than calling subcontractors. If anybody's listening that's your job, I don't want to scare you away or prevent you from showing this to anybody because you're scared to lose it. But this will get you on to bigger and better things instead of constantly having to talk to subcontractors or team members and tell them where they're supposed to be and getting into arguments about it. This is going to send them exactly what they need to know on the dot every time you schedule it, and you'll never have to think about it again.
Yeah, you can also, of course, CC yourself. So when you're setting up the game plan, you can actually have your project managers CC'd, for example, if it's for somebody else on that team. And so that way they can be receiving that person's game plan in addition to their own, just so that they have a checklist. I mean, you don't have to set it up even to be automatically sending out. You can also just do it on a per print basis. So I want to just pull up one of my contacts, print their game plan, which is just going to pull everything within that time frame that they're assigned to. So if anything, it just gives you a quick way to see where is this person utilized over the next week or whatever time frame we're looking at. So you can see we're huge fans of it because we've just seen it work.
Yeah, and there's the mobile app with this as well that you can use that's actually a little more interactive than the email. So you can set up the emails to go out, and those will go out every evening or every Sunday or every Monday, whatever it may be. But the Game Plan app, for, as you can see at the top of the screen here, for iWatch, for iPad, for iPhone, for Android, is available and actually allows you to keep up real time with the updates. So if it's between maybe, Monday night and Sunday night, or Monday night and Tuesday night, and you add something, and they need to know about it on site, they can. But it also lets them check things off as they go.
Right.
So that it can communicate back to ConstructionOnline instead of just crossing it off a piece of paper or just running down a list.
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely take a look at that one. That's going to really be a game changer for you all. So moving along then, number 3 is to invest in an excellent client experience. Clients are the reason for our work. They are the ones who are paying us for this work. They're the ones who are the reason for our jobs. So this might have been number 1. I mean, this is really investing in an excellent client experience is going to produce happier clients. It's going to produce less trouble. You hope.
Yeah.
People are people. It's also going to be, meaning if you have systems in place that keep them happier, then it's going to be a better project experience, which means more referrals and so on. This is half the business. Half the business is getting those referrals or making sure that your word of mouth from the people who have worked with you in the past are positive and that are going to speak and really building your own business. I mean, it's great if we can have excellent clients who are really speaking positively about their experience with us, then we know that that's going to really continue to boost profits for us by getting new clients.
Yeah.
The way go ahead.
I was going to say, Rachel, something that you just reminded me of, talking about happier clients will hopefully, lead to smoother, smoother projects, smoother interactions. Something that's a little bit off topic, but relates to this in all industries, really. I read an article not too long ago that was talking about medical malpractice, and it was saying that, something in the high 90% of medical malpractice suits come more because of the doctor treated the patient wrong or they didn't make them happy, as opposed to what they actually did to them. Mm-hmm. And, there's plenty of doctors that, make huge mistakes and don't get sued because the client likes them. If you keep your client happy, it applies to construction as well. I mean, you're going to have a lot smoother ride, and it's going to result in a lot fewer disputes and things like that as well.
Oh, for sure. So there's a huge benefit of having happier clients and people and really building and cementing those relationships. Now, the way that we suggest doing this in ConstructionOnline is through the client portal. We have an excellent client portal that's really designed for clients to make sure that the process for them is easy, it's effortless, it's informational so that they know exactly what's going on. They feel involved without necessarily keeping them in your hair. So giving them a way to really see what's going on in the project without having to be there 24/7. So really making sure, the whole point, people are happy when they feel like they have been communicated with. So through ConstructionOnline, you can set up your client portal. What I'm showing in front of you here is the login page for the client portal. We call it the public profile. It's your profile page. It's going to be a beautiful custom mini website that's excellent for you. As you can see, you can boast about your business through testimonials. You can show off some of your recent projects and work. You can link to awards that you've won, as well as other social media sites that you can also get involved or show off some of the professional organizations that you're a part of, which just boosts your credibility as a builder. So a lot of things that this will do well for you too, but for your clients, they can log into a really nice, easy to use portal that's really designed with their kind of, with a user who is not using ConstructionOnline daily in mind. So we want this to be easy. When they log in, they're going to be receiving a very simple navigation. You can see that there's not a whole bunch of places for them to click because we don't want them to have to figure out where to go. You can see that there are red buttons or red numbers that really call your attention. So the little details like this make it easier for them to get involved. You can, of course, choose what they see up here. So you have full control over what you decide to use this for. So start small. If you haven't used it yet with your clients, use it for photo management. Use it as a way to just manage the files or submit the proposal documents and contracts and plans so that there's an online file area for them to be able to log on and review the information that you've discussed. We've got an excellent messaging system, so you can use the messaging tool to kind of write back and forth with your clients. And that way your project communication is recorded all within the project online. It's also an excellent place for showing off the schedules, or again, we talked about photos, being able to include them on where the project stands and show them updates of their projects. With change orders and selections, again, communication and really kind of open communication here is really crucial. We've had, I've spoken with a few clients who have mentioned that before having a real clean kind of client login, the clients would often kind of in the project with a little bit of a kind of a disgruntled feeling that they didn't really know where their cost went. They didn't know what they were actually paying for. They felt kind of slighted, that they didn't really have a feel for how much money they spent at all times. And that's hard for you to do. There's a lot going on. I mean, there's a lot to manage. So when you have an online portal like this that's really doing it for you, change orders, for example, shows them a summary. So at any point, they can log in and see what they've decided on. They can see what they approved. They get a timestamp that says, yeah, Max, you did this on September 23rd. So you did choose to add that additional $4,000. So, and we did say that it was going to cost an extra 3 days on the job or whatever it might look like. So being able to have that place where they can log in, that there's no questions, that it's just in writing at this point. They have kind of very clear communication on what to expect.
Yeah, and change orders for any of you guys doing them, I'm sure is really where you can make or break your company. I know I've talked to clients that say that's where they make all their money on the jobs. I've talked to clients that say that's where they lose all their money on the jobs. And the last thing you want to do is have a change order that's not documented or doesn't get to the client in time to be approved, and you have to go through with it or have to leave it out and it costs extra money. And then you end up upside down on the job at the end of it, and it costs you and takes you into the next job already, upside down, I guess. So
yeah, good point. It's just increasing kind of the ability to win new jobs with this. When you have a technology, when you can say, we've had several of our clients who have posted on their website a quick description about what it's like to work with that particular builder. So when you're able to go to somebody's actual website and see, okay, well, this is going to be what it's like. They're going to use an online system. They have their own custom app. They have a mobile app that I can log in with my phone. I mean, there's not many people that can really say that. So these are also tools that differentiate you from your competition. Again, boosting your bottom line. If you're able to get more jobs, you're able to do better. Yeah.
And if you're not using the public profiles right now, another thing that we've had some great feedback from clients is Google searches or web searches.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, especially if you don't have your own website, but even if you do, it's just visibility for you. When you search your company's name on Google or on Bing or whatever it may be, typically the public profile for ConstructionOnline comes up right after, if not before in some cases, your own website. So that's something that is extremely useful when people are looking for you. They're going to find it. They're going to find your testimonials, find your recent project galleries, a little bit about you. So go ahead and beef that up and make sure that it's something that's worth showing and bragging about.
So one thing on that point, just to even further that, is that my company is fake. Pickens Construction is fake. But yet you can see that I type in Pickens Construction on a Google search, and the first one is for my custom app. The second one is for my public profile. The third one is for somebody else.
For a real Pickens Construction
somewhere. For a real
somewhere.
Pickens Construction, right. So you can see that that's something that we've optimized for search engine optimization, so that it's something that's really going to boost those results. So just to show you, that's a quick example, but you can see, boom, there it is. I mean, that's the result that you get. Yeah.
So Pickens Construction in South Carolina, if you're seeing this and you don't want us to be ahead of you, go ahead and get on ConstructionOnline and get it back up there.
Exactly. Otherwise, I might start my business. So one of the things I also want to, this is a real client quote that we had gotten from somebody just this week that had kind of wrote a positive review for us there. And what they had mentioned is that it's a big plus for our customers to be able to log in and check their necessary information. We have ours give our customers a real-time update of nightly reports, pictures, product specifications, engineering, etc. It allows everyone, regardless of where they live or work, to log in on their computer and our mobile device and see what's been done for the day regarding their projects. And so, you're taking it from not only our mouths, but you're also taking it from the mouth of one of our users who has implemented their client login and have their clients log in, and the results are there. So really, the proof is in the pudding. Was that the phrase?
Yeah, something like that. So again, we're hitting it right on the nail. We're getting all sorts of cliches and everything in there, but it's so true. Everything is so true, and we wouldn't say it if it wasn't. So you guys can see everything right here. And that's really one of the best options that you're going to have, is that public profile and client portal to improve your business and your client satisfaction. So moving on from there a little bit, we're talking about existing clients and talking about clients already using the system. Another thing that you can do to improve the bottom line in 2016 is not to leave dead leads in 2015. So with that, if you are tracking leads, really there is a lot in ConstructionSuite that you can use with our leads management tools and the opportunities that we've introduced as well to track everything you need to know, whether it's the lead status, where they are in the pipeline, how much they're worth, the probability that they come through, even to some of the information that we have with our custom reports that allows you to organize and manage those leads in a way that gets you exactly what you need to see on a report. But it's also going to allow you guys to do things like forecast dates where they're going to close, set automatic callback dates when you create a lead. And so you'll see here, if we go in here, you put the lead info, but there's a scheduled events tab that's going to allow you to set forecast dates, callback dates, etc. And if you go into the options there, you'll actually see you can automatically set these as a default. So maybe every time I open a lead, I want to set a callback date 3 days later or a week later. We can go ahead and set that to automatically create a calendar event when I create the lead so that it's visible on my calendar. It comes up with a reminder whenever I'm, creating that contact and whenever that day comes. And I won't forget to reach back out. I won't miss leads. But also the dead leads, this is something that, it's said that pretty much 80% of people, when they make first contact, if not more, aren't really sales ready. And so the sales agents and the people working with the clients kind of tend to shy away from them and focus on the 20% who are ready to give them money. And that means that 8 out of 10 people that you talk to that could potentially give you money down the road and really beef up that pipeline, beef up your profits, get neglected, and they just kind of fall off and they're dead leads. And so with that, that's something that ConstructionSuite is going to allow you guys to keep track of your pipeline, and not just those that are on the tip of your tongue, right in the front of your mind, ready to give you money that you're thinking about. It's going to allow you guys to track those other leads as well and make sure that you're following up with them. You can set recurring events on our calendar as well if you want to do so every 30 days. If it's somebody that said they're going to take a little more time, you can do anything here again with the lead details. Some of this information, in case you guys want to see what's available, you can track the value of the lead, you can track the stage, and these stages can be customized as well. You can add your own or kind of switch around the pipeline for however you want to define it. You can assign sales agents and organize by that. So one thing that's great with ConstructionSuite, not just in the leads but elsewhere as well, anywhere with this grid type view that you see, is you can actually do a view and a group by. And with this, you can actually group by the lead stage, you can group by the status. So if I throw this up here under lead stage, you'll see that it actually breaks it down, and I can very quickly see those in initial communication, those in the sales fulfillment, etc. This was probably a bad example because we also have the bubble filters at the top that do exactly that as well if you click on them. But if you go back to all leads, you can do that again, let's say maybe by the sales agent that we have. Charles is the only one lucky enough to have a lead at the moment, but if we do that, we'll see that there's 6 unassigned and there's 1 assigned to Charles. So you can very easily see who your agents are and what leads they have, and then under that, maybe what the stage or the value or anything like that they have are as well.
Absolutely. And in this case, I mean, the fact that we have 6 people who are unassigned to a sales agent is pretty much a huge problem. If someone's not looking after them, and this is the kind of information that you gain from things like this, what you were able to see right away, like, wow, we've got 6 out of 7 of our leads have nobody who's actually responsible for contacting them. That's a problem. And so these are the types of things that you really can see a lot faster when you have some information like this, that it's all part of the ConstructionSuite system.
Absolutely. And just to give you guys really quickly, since we talked about a little bit of visibility on this, if we go in, say for Marty, and actually set that callback date for him, if we go in and let's say today's the 13th, so if we go in and do it on the 15th, we can set this callback date, and bouncing over to the calendar for just a moment, we've got some scheduled tasks showing, so I'm going to take those off from our Gantt charts. And you can see that that lead callback is shining bright right there on the 15th. It's going to be visible for us if we're checking our daily calendars, but it's also going to, like I said, spawn a reminder for you when that happens, so that very similar to like Outlook, if you guys are used to it, it'll be a pop-up. You can dismiss it, snooze it, postpone it till later. And it's going to effectively bug you about it until you say, I don't care about this guy anymore. So hopefully that day doesn't come. Yeah, it's on you at that point. There you are. Perfect timing.
We'll dismiss him. We'll choose Sant.
Yeah, sorry, Marty.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great tool there. It's really, I mean, just making sure that you're not giving up on the people that really are interested, but just may not have been as hot as some of the people in your original pipeline. So really the 5th one then today that we're going to look at is really to back up your claims or settle disputes faster when you have accurate records. So one of the things that ConstructionOnline and ConstructionSuite do is that it really is going to allow you to put on paper or digitally on screen what's happening day to day on a job site. And one of the things that we have that's fantastic for you is our daily log tool. So if we pull up in ConstructionOnline, we've got our project logging tool where you're able to record logs online. You can also, of course, do all of this from the mobile app. We've got on-site logging available both for Android and iOS or Apple devices as well, via iPad, tablets, phones, whatever it might look like. But with the logging, you're going to have weather automatically tracked, and so you're going to have an automatic recording of what the weather looked like 5 times a day. So that's one less thing for your project managers or supers to have to do and have to record on their own. It's also going to allow them to record things like who was there, what did they do, snap pictures so that you have proof or evidence or just documentation of what it was. It record visitor visits so that you know exactly who stopped by, or if there was a change that was requested, you can note the conversation or the details that were discussed. Project notes, of course, are very just being able to record what happened, what was done, what equipment or materials were used. All of these things are ways for you to really snap quickly, what was actually happening, and being able to attach pictures, videos is really huge as well. I mean, just think about the benefit or kind of how better records can really help you. I mean, for example, one of those is that, thinking about deliveries. It's great to have on-time deliveries, but late deliveries, of course, can cause delays. So can early deliveries. I mean, think about it. If you have an early delivery, then it might cause a problem too, because you have to stop work in order to move the equipment or to make room for the materials that you can unload. Or perhaps you have to pay for the waiting time for the driver because he's 2 hours earlier and the crane isn't available for you to unload, or whatever it might look like. If you don't have that information recorded, you're not going to have a good reason for why you actually need to request money or additional costs or labor hours or whatever it might be for that. So being able to stamp that or be able to record that on the job is hugely important. In terms of discrepancies, in terms of whose work is supposed to do something. So let's say the plumber is saying that they've installed a pipe too close, and the HVAC guy is going to say, well, there's a problem here. Well, whose fault is it? Well, you've got to record accurate records in terms of what actually happened, describe the events, and now you've got a detailed record that you can look back at and understand, okay, well, what are the facts of the situation? It's a lot easier to remember something if you've got a note that you've taken at the time that it happened, rather than thinking about it weeks ahead of time. If there's a dispute for any reason, if you're protecting yourself, if there was some sort of dispute that you have to that you have to battle in court. Hopefully that's not ever the case, but we've heard it. It happens.
Yeah, it does happen. More often than we would like it to, for
that's
sure.
Part of the chaos of sometimes that construction without these systems can really require. Oftentimes I have spoken with people who have been able to pull up their log reports. They've called in and said, hey, I need to know how to pull a log report. Well, great. Here we go. We've got an excellent option to do so. And it captures all of the information that was recorded on the job site. So they have detailed logs that are going to show off exactly what was recorded in a really nice, easy to read, professional manner, and just records who was there, what was done, what were the decisions made. And how did they affect the job? And so being able to save time without having to deal with those disputes, or being able to quickly respond to disputes, or being able to back up your own claims as to why you're requesting additional funding or billing or whatever it might be, is hugely valuable and really does improve the bottom line when you don't have to deal with those types of things.
Right. And the logging is something it's great for timely information as well. And so Rachel talked about the delays. Maybe if there's a dispute between some work that wasn't done, who did it causes some delays, or if there's materials delivered late or early, whatever that may be. But it's also great for communication with the clients, kind of going back to the happy clients, communication with the clients, keeping them up to date. If there is weather, for example, you can see today on this log that we're looking at, there was some rain around 9, rain around 3. Maybe that's something that prevented you guys from doing work. If it's still early on in the project, or you guys are working outside or on a roof or on a patio or whatever it may be, rain's definitely something that could prevent you from doing work. Thunderstorms or high winds if you're working on a roof or something like that. When you do a weather delay here on ConstructionOnline in the logging, you can go to the observed weather, and you can see that you can type a description of the weather. You can, set the time that it actually prevented you from working. And when you do that, that's actually going to post onto your calendar on ConstructionOnline as well. And that's going to immediately notify both your team members and the client, if they're looking on their calendar, that there was a delay. And so it's much better to go ahead and let them know when the delay happens. I mean, you can't control the weather. That's not something that you really have any authority over. But if you get to the end of the job and you're 2 weeks late on it, and you say, oh, back 3 months ago it was raining and I couldn't do work, it's usually not going to fly as much as it would if you told them the day of, hey, we got rained out all day, we couldn't do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is again, having that clear communication that's going to be recorded, or being able just to document what exactly happened and how did that affect the job.
Right, absolutely. And then so after that, I guess that was our 5th way to improve your bottom line. Moving on to the last one here, the 6th way to improve that bottom line is going to be able to have the foresight to make quicker decisions. And there are a lot of tools within ConstructionSuite and ConstructionOnline that can allow you to do that. We're going to focus on just a few here. And so foresight, this is going to tie into a few things financially as well. So starting with the estimate, one of the things that you can do is bring in your actual cost, either from QuickBooks or by manually entering the actuals into the estimate if you don't have QuickBooks, to go ahead and track the job costs as you go through. So you can see here that in this estimate, we do have our QuickBooks actuals column. These have, of course, been imported from the QuickBooks bills, checks, paychecks, credit card charges, things like that, and allows us to see as we progress through the job if we're over budget, under budget, and if we start to go over budget on a few things. It's going to let us know, hey, we need to go ahead and make some adjustments here. We need to pull funds. We need to do this or that to make sure that by the end of the job, we're not over budget as well. And the profitability report, again, pulls directly off of these actuals. Mm-hmm. So that's going to give you more of a project by project basis. But if you need to go in and see, any particular subcategory or phase of the job that may be over budget or is costing you money, especially on a multiple job basis, if it's consistently costing you money, you can spot those trends and see that on a job to job basis and say, hey, we need to do something different here. Either we've got the wrong vendor, we're not installing this properly, it's taking way too long, or we're just estimating flat out wrong. So all of that can be done and kind of give you the foresight and also the hindsight to look back and see, what mistakes you've made or how to adjust for that in the future. Another thing you can do is use schedule baselines in order to know if you're behind schedule or ahead of schedule on your jobs. And these exist both in ConstructionSuite and ConstructionOnline. We're going to take a look at them here in ConstructionOnline. So if we look at this, baselines, for anybody who may be unfamiliar, you can set a baseline for a schedule kind of either at the initial start of the schedule. You can set multiple baselines kind of throughout the process to keep a checkpoint, if you will, or kind of a record of where the schedule stood at that point in time. And so we're actually looking at this one, and we have a dashboard on ConstructionOnline at the top. We set a baseline at the beginning of the job. You can actually see in this Choose Baseline drop down that it's for July 27th, 2015 was when the baseline was set. Mm-hmm. And so that was the start of this project. And now we're actually comparing that baseline to where the schedule currently stands. And this is progressive. You can do it every single day, see how the job's adjusting. As soon as you move a task, you can see how that's affecting the completion date of the schedule based on those critical path tools in the baseline. We'll go ahead and create a new baseline here so you can see. And if we actually compare it to the new one, of course, everything's exactly the same as it was 3 seconds ago when we created that. But as we move this, you can see that the slippage is now 2 workdays behind up in that dashboard. So that actually shows us that from the time we set that baseline that we're looking at, we're now actually 2 days behind on the entire schedule, or in this case, the exterior steps, than where we need to be. So you can view this on a schedule, overall schedule basis, on a category by category basis, even on an individual task basis. But this is going to show you guys, again, how far behind you are on the schedule. Even partway through, you're going to know the expected completion date and how that compares to the original date. And if there need to be adjustments made, maybe you need to pay somebody overtime on the weekend to come in and get something done. Or if you need to go ahead and expedite something, or go ahead and notify the client, hey, this is going to take a little longer. This happened, we had a delay, whatever it may be. Any of the circumstances we've talked about so far could lead to that. And then finally, the third way that we're going to talk about today to kind of have some foresight and stay on top of that and make quicker decisions is with the insurance tracking in ConstructionSuite. So the insurance tracking, this can be done either on a contact or a project basis. So the insurance can be tracked for licenses, insurance, certificates, and bonds. And of course, this is great for liability purposes to actually input this. You can choose different types of licenses, insurance, and actually track the value, who the policy's through, things like that. But the main thing that we're going to talk about today is really the expiration date and how to account for that and make sure that you're going to be covered and always have somebody on file that has insurance. So maybe you don't get to the day of, find out that the person you hired isn't covered by insurance, and instead of having to find a replacement last minute, you're going to know ahead of time, because the insurance and certificates modal here will actually show you in incremental values when the person's insurance is going to expire. So we just created one really quickly for Cook's Concrete. You can see that expires on the 18th of February, and so that's a little over a month out at this point. And you can see at the top then in these bubble filters that within 60 days I have that one that is expiring. So that's going to be visibility on more of a manual check, so you can go in here and very quickly see that information compiled. But one thing that Construction Suite's going to do on the automated sense that really covers you is by default, it's going to be 30 days ahead of time. You actually can change that setting in Construction Suite. But 30 days before someone's license or insurance is going to expire, provided that you have an email address in the system for that contact, we're going to automatically send an email to them and say, hey, your license or your insurance is expiring in 30 days. You need to get with us and update that so that you can work for us. And just like the lead callbacks here, you can see that's actually going to, if we go back to the day view here in 18th, it's going to create a calendar event for that expiration. And so with that come reminders, with that come the emails that are going to be sent out. You can see now on the 19th of January, it's already set a reminder for this calendar event to send an email to that contact that their insurance is going to expire. So that's something that, again, back to the office manager responsibilities and roles and things like that, it's going to make it to where they don't have to reach out and contact or call or even keep up with the expiration dates. The system does it for you. It's all automated. And then, one day, this is the coolest thing that's going to happen. You'll be sitting there in the office and somebody will email you updated insurance and you won't even know that it was expiring. And so, that doesn't happen without the reminders. They're not going to keep up with that on their own most of the time and send it to you. You're going to have to chase them down and get that updated insurance. So Construction Suite really makes your life easier in that sense and automates that process to where you can have the foresight. Again, 30 days is the default. You can do it 90 days ahead of time. You can do it 60 or 6 months ahead of time. So whatever you feel comfortable with the expiration notices, you can set.
Absolutely. So yeah, great. So really, we've covered the 6 ways to improve. We want to go back and just kind of quickly recap. So the first one, like Taylor mentioned, is to know your profitability. Use the work in progress report that's already in Construction Suite, and that already pulls information from QuickBooks. Basically, it's one of those things that you don't really have to do anything extra except for just create your estimates and pull that information with QuickBooks. And so that work in progress graph is going to automatically pull that information and give you that information and insight automatically. Second one on the list, of course, is save time communicating. Use tools like GamePlan. Use tools like being able to take quick photos and have photos stored automatically on ConstructionOnline. And really kind of eliminate the things that software and technology is designed to help you do without having to have a person separately doing that. I mean, really with the communicating, with the ability to avoid communication errors, you can save huge amounts of time, money, headache, just by having better systems in place. Number 3, invest in an excellent client experience. Happier clients means less trouble, means less better project management. It means more referrals because they're going to talk about you. So make sure that is a positive and excellent experience for them. Number 4?
Number 4 is don't leave dead leads. So I'll kind of take over from here. Again, use better lead tracking with Construction Suite. Track those callback dates, those values, and assign them to sales agents. Use all the tools that we have available to you to make sure that those 80% of leads, that's a big number, guys, 80% of leads that aren't sales ready when they come into the sales process and make initial communication don't get left behind. It's a lot of money you can leave on the table. Don't leave those dead leads in 2015 or even in the last month moving forward from here. Number 5 was back up your claims. And so you've got the online logging there with the project logging and other records to really make sure that you have the ability to settle those disputes with accurate records. So backing up your claims and having those accurate records is a definite surefire way to save yourself not only money with any sort of lawsuits or legal disputes you get into, but also the time that it takes to do that.
Sure.
If you've got somebody out of office attending court or anything like that, that's really going to take away from your productivity. Just make it to where that isn't even a question. Nobody will challenge you because you've got the records. And then finally, what we just talked about was having the foresight to make quicker decisions. So things like the QuickBooks Actuals import, scheduling baselines, insurance tracking, all of that. There's many more, but those are a few of the examples of the ways that Construction Suite and Online can actually take your job and make it easier by automating those processes.
Yeah, and really find one of those ways. I mean, many of you are users who have been with us for years and years, and so hopefully you can take one of these items and just use it and implement it. I mean, don't try to do everything at once. We just find a way, and you're going to notice better returns just by finding one way to really kind of put these systems in place. And that's what we're here to design for. Again, I'd love to hear your resolutions. So if you haven't chatted those over, feel free to go ahead and send those to us or follow up with us after via email or give us a call. We'd love to speak with you and hear kind of what your resolutions are and how we could continue to design tools and processes that are going to really help you build your business. Thanks so much for attending today. We've got a lot of questions. It looks like Holly's been busy answering a lot of questions. We're going to take a brief break and just take a look at some of these questions. There's a few requests in terms of showing off maybe a proposal or something like that as well. So I'd like to take a look at those, and then we'll join back together in about a minute here and kind of follow up and end the session. But otherwise, we just want to thank you so much for attending today.
Absolutely.
And for really making sure that 2016 is going to be a great year for you.
I didn't feel like I needed to say anything. So.
Okay, here, we'll just do this. Let's pause again. Okay. Commercial green. We can talk about the differences of construction of commercial green and stuff.
Yeah.
Proposals. We can talk about that.
For ConstructionOnline.
Oh, online, yeah.
Yeah.
Can we select how many emails? Notification. No. We won't talk about that one.
Yeah. After they approve, I want to correct a misspelled word.
QuickBooks. Let's get
I'm
Sage.
going to QuickBooks today.
Yeah, no.
He left anyways.
Sure, good.
Which program are you
Oh gosh, where do you set up the reminders for instance? Expiration. That's a great question. The question, just want to say thanks. It's quite helpful. Okay. There's no name specific. It's very place costs. Yes, you're right. Okay. Okay, cool. We'll do that. Cool. Okay.
So talk about the tutorials and
Tutorials online on YouTube. We'll go over the where to set the insurance expiration dates. We'll talk about the proposal from the budget.
okay.
That's it.
So we have a budget.
Yeah, I've got one I can pull.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, we're back. Yeah, great questions. Holly has been busy, so you've given Holly a workout here today with all those questions. And so some of them, though, that are really kind of more specific or tailored to the topics that we discussed on this webinar are about setting up the actual reminder for the insurance. So since we're on this screen, we wanted to go ahead and answer where you can set up I think it was the automatic expiration or how soon out is that going to expire. Mm-hmm. And so that's found under your tools.
Under the ConstructionSuite options.
Thank you. Yes, there we go.
And then under certificates.
And then under certificates. There we go. Thanks.
Gotcha, Rachel. Sorry. I know you know where it is, but I was jumping the gun.
It's hard when you're on the spot. I should have looked ahead. Sorry. Tools. So let's just do that again. Tools, ConstructionSuite options, certificates. You're going to find other options here as well, so explore those. You never know what you might learn in terms of what you can really kind of customize that you may not have known before. But here's where you can set that notification in terms of how far in advance you want to be reminded about those expirations. So that's where you can do that. We also had a question about ConstructionOnline, specifically proposals, which is an excellent topic here in terms of also being able to increase your bottom line, is making sure that you actually are winning jobs with a beautiful, excellent proposal. We have an excellent proposal system in ConstructionSuite that you can generate directly from an estimate. With that proposal, it has almost full total customization. It produces a report that you have a lot of flexibility with. On ConstructionOnline, you have a beautiful report that's going to be really just kind of presented with a few options that you're able to really kind of tailor it to as well. So what we'll do here is we'll bring up a budget in ConstructionOnline that has some real data in it, so we can kind of see one of our budgets here. The proposal option within ConstructionOnline is found in the budgeting from this actions menu, and you can create both a budget summary as well as a budget proposal. This is going to pull in the things like your scope of work. It's going to give you options in terms of how much detail you want to include. Gives you an option to upload your own logo, choose how you want your overhead and margin to be included or to be factored in. It's also going to include your allowances as well. And so as you're going to see, it's going to present a very nice, very clean, very print-friendly presentation or proposal for your client that you can share. And again, you have some flexibility with how much detail, so you can choose to include the total breakdown, or you can just choose categories. At the very bottom, those where you'll see those allowance come into play, and then also your overhead and margin if you've chosen to list that out separately like I did in this case. And then you've got a place to list up all the different subtotals and then an area for them to sign and accept. And so just, again, very clean, very well presented. It's very easy to read. We've used larger fonts, and so there's no question of not being able to see something. So it's just very, very clean, very easy to manage there. So that's going to be the proposal within ConstructionOnline that you have access to as well. The very last thing that really kind of is a common question that we saw as well is just about other tutorials. And so today we've talked about a lot of different things in ConstructionOnline, a lot of ways that you can really use this tool for your business. But if you're newer to ConstructionOnline and ConstructionSuite, then perhaps you really like to learn a little bit more or go in detail in terms of how to get started. And so that's going to be through our YouTube page.
Absolutely. And the YouTube channel is phenomenal, not only for new users, but also for existing users that have questions. Maybe it's just a touch-up, a refresher on how something's going to work within either of our systems, Suite or Online. And also going to be a good way to keep up with the latest activity from UDA Technologies, whether it's webinars, whether it's new videos on new features. So those of you that have looked at our YouTube channel before, I advise you to go back and just subscribe to it. We're definitely going to have some new videos coming out shortly with all the new features that we've released, some updated videos just to kind of touch on hot topics from our clients lately. And then, of course, any webinars that we do will be posted here as well. So you've got a good mix between, you'll see we have what we call our Suite Talk videos. These are going to be more of the training videos separated into playlists based on really features. So you'll see like estimating, QuickBooks, scheduling, etc. But these are going to be shorter videos most of the time, 5 to 10 minutes in most cases. And they're going to be focused on particular features or subjects. The webinars are also posted here for ConstructionSuite and ConstructionOnline. A lot of great topics. These are, of course, going to be a little bit longer, more comprehensive. Great for beginners, great for somebody if you've just brought somebody on staff that's going to be doing estimating for you, going to be doing, scheduling. There are topic-specific webinars here that we do really on a bi-weekly basis. The content does change a little bit from webinar to webinar based on the questions that come in and some of the more popular topics of the week. But it's always going to cover really the base fundamentals, and this is really where we recommend everybody starts. If you're getting into ConstructionSuite, getting into ConstructionOnline, feel like you don't know where to start or a little unfamiliar with it, the systems are very user-friendly. Really just clicking around will usually get you where you need to be. But if you want more of a directed approach, the webinars will give you some more information on everything that it can do, where to start and how to access that, and really, telling you what you need to know to do whatever it is that you need to do.
Absolutely. So a lot of great material there. Let us know if there's something that you want to see or another video that might be good as well. Again, like Taylor mentioned, a lot of those are based on clients' kind of requests and demands. What are people really asking for? So definitely let us know what would be beneficial to you. But really, that's going to conclude our session today. So again, I want to thank you for joining and for all of the questions. I know Holly has been having fun there typing those and responding to you all and really kind of working with you. We love to hear what your thoughts and what your questions are. So if we didn't answer your question, trust me, it's not gone unnoticed. We'll be happy to reach out to you or to see what we might need to do there to help with that as well. But we want to thank you so much for attending and really making sure that 2016 is a great year for you. Last question came through just a moment ago there. Today's webinar will be posted on YouTube. And so it'll go through a brief editing period, and then we'll be uploading it through our YouTube channel. So again, go to youtube.com, search for UDA Technologies and hit subscribe, because it's just going to send you, the only email that you'll get from that is going to be when new videos are posted or changes like that are made. So it's a great way for you to really be involved or kind of up to date when new videos are posted. Absolutely.
Once again, thank you guys for joining us today. We've had some great turnout and really covered some great topics. We'll be back to our normal webinar schedule next week, Monday through Friday. So if you want to join us for those, please feel free. Any special sessions that we have upcoming, we'll be sure to let you know, and always keeping you guys in mind. So you have a wonderful afternoon.